Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about the importance of keeping an emergency fund. Now this is a topic that I think many people take for granted and do not know the importance of keeping an emergency fund until you're in a situation where you desperately need cash and you can't find it. And also, if you are keeping an emergency fund, you would be very happy when you are in that kind of situation and you know that you can actually dip into that fund and take care of things. Like sama maam lim daan wax mu ne bugga dara dugal sa loxo sa poos daj xaalis génnee jënda dara daaxu ko te dégga bu wér. So let's get right into it. I'll share my screen shortly and then we'll delve right into the presentations. Okay, sharing my screen. I think we can see it now. Okay, so as I was saying, the topic today is about the importance of having an emergency fund. Now, what is an emergency fund? Let's define it. Right, an emergency fund is basically money set aside to take care of unexpected expenses. Right, so we live in a very uncertain world, and things happen out of our control, and you need to take care of things, especially so neke borom kir. Borom kir dafa fagaru, right? Now, why do you need an emergency fund, right? So for so many reasons, because like I said earlier, we live in an uncertain world, and you need emergency fund to take care of unforeseen expenses. Excuse me, have a terrible cold, so pardon my coughing. Now, you need it for so many reasons. You need it to protect against debt, because if you don't keep an emergency fund, guess what happens? You have to go and borrow money, either from bank or from friends and family. Nga dem si pa alis ano ka money, lebal mo fo xaalis mo ne la money. Mala gina waru, right? So all of those things. And stress reduction, minimize financial anxiety, financial stability. If you have an emergency fund, you don't need to go and borrow money, right? You can just dip into that fund and take care of things. Now, common financial emergencies. What are these emergencies, right? You can have unexpected illnesses or a family member, mufebar, and then you need to immediately, perform maybe surgeries, God forbid. But these are all things that happen in our lives, and you need to take care of it. Car repairs. So I'm a fair melni. Man auto amé feeraay bu mel ni suma bos léegi-léegi nga daw rek benn paat ba yaaxu su ko defee nga tasee ku mel ni Serigne Touré mu ne la kaay bill be. So you get a lot of some of these unexpected happenings in your life, a car breakdown, you need to repair it, or a job loss, right? Today you can just be redundant in your office, and then you need to find another job. So in between finding another job, you need to take care of the house. No one's going to do it for you. So if you have an emergency fund, it will actually take care of these things. Another example is home repairs. Sometimes you have plumbing issues, need to call a plumber, unplanned for, and then you incur some expenses that you didn't budget for, and then you can actually dip in to your emergency fund to take care of these things. Now, how much should you save for your emergency fund? Well, this depends, right? So you can have a target and say, okay, you know what? I want to create an emergency fund where at least if I lose my job today, in the next 3 to 6 months, I can actually sustain my family. And how do I do that? You just look at, okay, how much are the essentials that I spend every month? Maybe rent, food, utilities, transportation. And then if I have a total cost, let's say every month, my expenses in the house about $10,000. So what I will do is I'll try and build an emergency fund for 6 months. That's 10,000 times six. That's $60,000, and put it somewhere just for emergencies. Now, building your emergency fund. So I've just mentioned it earlier. Set a target. Excuse me. Save. If you build a decent emergency fund, you can take part of the funds and invest it. Remember, this emergency fund should be something that you can easily access, right? Now that takes us to the next slide, where to keep your emergency fund. Now imagine this scenario. Right now there's so many things happening in the digital space, so many scams, hacking, and the likes. Now imagine your account was involved in a fraud, right? Let's say somebody scammed someone, send money, and then the money end up into your account. You didn't even know. Maybe they scam your friend and then use that money to send to your account. One way or the other, you are already involved. And then your bank account is frozen. Now, guess what? Banks will place what we call PND, post no debit. And what that means is you can't withdraw money from your account. And if your account happens to be part of, let's say, a fraud investigation, forget it. You can't have access to that money. So if that's the only account that you have, then you're doomed. So borom kiranga fagaru. And this brings me to the advice that for those of you who hold only one account, let's say I'm account Trust Bank or EcoBank or GT or Access Bank, ben account kese lolu save it, right? So you must have multiple accounts where you keep money separately so that you can easily access. So scenario buma paint legi lolu sula dale so de ben account renga am. You're stranded. You have money but you can't access it. And yang am emergency. And bank baby mung la nila oh sa account bi den ko freeze until 2 weeks time before you can have access to the money pending investigations. While you are innocent, you didn't do anything, but because your account was involved in, you know, in a criminal activity, so you can't have the money. So what you need is, like I said, multiple accounts, and also have digital wallets, right? Because the scenario I just painted, your accounts can be frozen, and then you can have access to your money, or there's a system downtime in a country, and then there's no financial activity. What can you do? You can have access to your bank account. So if you have a digital wallet, right, where maybe you keep bitcoins, stable coins, you can easily access it. All you need is to find a merchant and exchange the cryptocurrency into fiat, and then take care of your needs. Now, having a digital wallet, it it makes it a bit maybe, I will not say difficult, but it's not going to be something you want to venture in to just convert your stable coins to dollar C, So it's a bit um, of a work that you would do. So that means if you keep your emergency funds there, likelihood of you touching it is very low, right? Now, you can also have separate accounts. I've mentioned this, have multiple accounts. Don't have just one account. It's risky having one account. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Then easy accessibility. Like I said, it should be an account where you can easily access it. So consider multiple accounts, consider digital wallets. I've mentioned that because anything can happen. So the digital wallet, at least you are in control, you can easily have access to it. Now, benefits beyond emergencies, right? What do you need the emergency fund for? Let's say, yala musal nala, you don't have all those emergencies, you don't have the need. So that emergency fund, gives you peace of mind. At least it gives you the stress and anxiety knowing that, you're prepared for the unexpected. Maybe if you lose your job, you won't be that worried, right? That my family will not eat. At least your family will eat for maybe 6 months. That was your target, right? Then financial freedom gives you the flexibility to make choices without financial fear. and also save you from humiliations. Xam nga jamono bu nekk soo lebee nit moom fayloo ko daf laa defal live dina dem TikTok live. So balaa loolu yëpp di la si fekk, at least so amee an emergency fund, you don't really depend on anybody, and save yourself from humiliations and shame. Also opportunity to grow. Like I said, if you have enough emergency fund, you can take part of it, invest it, right? Invest it and then grow it. And that helps you build financial stability. And if you build financial stability, you have attained a lot. You would avoid loans, right? You avoid debt, and then that's the best thing you can do, especially for your family. Let's say you leave the world and you leave your family behind. The least you can do for them is actually um, leave no debt for them to settle, right? Yeah. All right. So that's all I have for you today. Until next time. Thanks for watching.